Well, with today's video, I have a lot of things to go over on different things, a little different than the last video with the polls and stuff. But I'll go over to what sold like I normally do. I sold 18 cards on eBay for $95, and I sold 5 cards on Etsy for $19, so total about $114 overnight on postcards, and I'll show you what those are. Then I got a special topic, different type of postcard out there, and they're Goofy Series postcards. They're these little cards here, and I'll get into some history of them. There's not a lot of information about these cards that I could find out there, good information, so got some history on Topps. These were made by Topps Chewing Gum Company, TCG, back in 1957. And I'll go through the pricing and what I know of the cards and what I've sold them for and what's out there. And we'll get to that after the what's sold part of the video. Down at the bottom of the video, there's chapters or timelines. So if you want to skip around, skip what's sold, go right to the special topic, the Goofy cards, or go to the poll or stats that I'm going to do today, and the comments. You can jump around and come back. Try to make it as easy as possible. It's like 4 videos in one. Instead of doing 4 different videos for stuff, I do the longer videos and break it up into chapter lines below. But then I got the stats updated. I got it all updated to June on the percentage of cards sold per month. Not the dollars, but the number of cards sold since January up to June and what the percentages are. And there is a drop. You'll see the graph. And then the other graph I'm doing during the stats part is what is the best day? What is the highest percentage cards sold Sunday through Monday or Monday through Sunday? What is the best day for me, my store stats, that I sell the most cards? Not dollars, cards. And that's coming up after a special topic. And then I got about 3 viewer comments. And I like that section because this comes from you guys. And you leave comments and I respond to them. I probably responded in the YouTube comments or email, but I like to speak about it too because I like to share the different questions that you have. But let me go ahead and do the Etsy cards, then I'll do the eBay cards, and then we'll get into Goofy Series postcards. Are they worth anything? We'll see. So the first card that sold on Etsy is the State House, Providence, Rhode Island. Undivided back card. Sold for $4.65. I think I have them on Etsy. Have to go a little higher because of the fees and the volume. Then the next one that sold at our Greensmire Award, a Tall Corn Grows. It's what I call a banner card on there. And this was posted 1962. Postmark 1962. Just a chrome card, $4.65. Next one is Cathedral, St. Peter and St. Paul, Providence, Rhode Island. Just a church. Older divided back card. And it was posted but in 1904, I think, or something. 1914 or something. $4.65. Now on Etsy, I put up the ships and the boat cards, those naval ships that I have, and I saw a lot of on eBay. I put those up on Etsy, but I only do one at a time. And I sold this one, USS Tucson. It's a chrome card. SSN 70, so for $4.65. And what I'll do is twice a month I'll go through the Etsy inactives. That's where they go, sold or inactives. And if I see a boat, and if I have multiple quantities of some of these boats, hundreds of them, I'll grab another one out, deduct the number on eBay, and just relist that listing on Etsy. I don't put quantities on Etsy that often. Sold another ship on Etsy, USS Oranskani. That's the name right there. Just a chrome card. And those 2 cards were bought from the publisher by the club that I got these from. So that was 5 cards for $19 on Etsy. Not bad. Etsy, it's up and down. It's hard to predict sometimes, but get some big orders on there, get some small orders, go days without orders. The fees will eat you up on there. You got to be careful. Now with eBay, I sold 18 cards. We'll go through these pretty quick. Viacut Motel, Marathon, Florida. Mosaic, 2 different views. Unposted chrome card. This is probably 50 or 60s. Just to avoid the feel of the card on there. Next one is the Chrisman Memorial Library. David Lipscomb College, rounded corner. You can see on there, not from where, just, they made it as a rounded corner. Sometimes you'll see a scalloped edge, but this is what they call a rounded corner. Doesn't really give it any more money, make it more pricey on there, but that's the library of that college. Next one, person bought 2 postcards from that private collection, and if you haven't seen that series I did of 8 videos with 8 different albums I bought for $1,200, check that series out. Video 1, album 1, in that video I talk about the buy and how I came about and talked and negotiated. Then the rest of them I just went through the cards and then what I paid for them and what I listed out of each album. And I have an update coming just about there that I'll do a special video on a Saturday just to let everybody know how that collection is coming. In a sneak peek, I got my money back already. Next card sold is Catskill Mountains, and this was from that special collection. A lot of things, undivided back. This sold for like $7, $8, something like that. I forgot the actual price. And the other one the person bought is Catskill Mountains. Is this one, an undivided back card, 1906. There's the writing tab because they couldn't write the message on the back. There's a stamp. But Catskill Mountains. So those 2 cards sold. I think I sold another one from that collection last night too. Sold a boat, USS Erin, just a print, $4.55. Seaboard Station, West Palm Beach. This was a looked like a linen, but it's a white border card. Seaboard Station, unposted, $4.55. This is lower level of the Catskill. This came from that private collection as well. On there, this is a white divided back card, not a white border card. Older divided back on there, and that sold for about $6 or $7. Calico Ghost Town, Barstow, California. I've sold this card or cards from there before. $4.55. Sold some seashells. The Scotch Bonnet, North Carolina State Shell. They have a state shell. Didn't know that. The things you learn on this channel, you would learn nowhere else. Guaranteed. State shell, North Carolina, Scottish bonnet. So next time you're playing a trivia game, that comes up, you'll win if it comes up. Hot Springs, Bathhouse Row. This looks like a white border card, but it's a chrome card. You can see it glisten on there, unposted. $4.55. This one I've sold before, the Jethro Coffin House. On there it's a white border card and it's got a well, a long thing with a well on there, and it's a Jethro Coffin House, unposted white border card. $4.55. This is one thing you're not going to see a lot of anymore. International Room, New Orleans International Airport. Anything with the aviation airports are pretty good. But look at that, it's a buffet. I was in the restaurant business for years, and we've called them barfets. But with what's going on in the world, I don't think there's going to be as many barfets out there. We'll see. This is like a shuffleboard thing going on. Jersey Vista Home Park, concrete for platform. Shuffleboard platform. I sold the shuffleboard platform. Chrome card. $4.55. This is a print that I sold. It's not a heavier card stock. This is the USS New Orleans. I left it in this package because this is the last one. I sold out of these. So I'll make sure I leave it in here, and when I do that, I'll make sure with that SKU number that listing is down to 0 and I don't have any more. So I don't have that problem or that thing people say that eBay put something up that's sold. I make sure it's 0 and then it's off the board. USS Flusser. Yeah, Flusser. I wonder who names these ships. But print card, $4.55. Same thing with this guy, Erickson, USS Erickson, just a print, $4.55. Those prints really do well. And like I said, I got a whole table full of those. I have a video about the table that I ended up putting those postcards on. And you can put 8,000 postcards in white boxes on that table. And I think it's less than $100, $100 for that table. But if you want to check a video out how to store those, that's what it is. I'll probably end up getting another one soon, as I'm running out of space here. Probably at the end of the year I'll probably get another table and back them up to each other, and then I can put more boxes down there. My wife says, when does it end? It doesn't. Union Lumber Company, they're picking up some logs right there, posted 1974, $4.55. And the last card that sold, USS Alaska. It's a print card, $4.55. Again, total of 23 cards, $114. No problem with that. But if people want to see what sells, find your bigger sellers or other postcard people on eBay. I don't hide my store. You can see all my listings. You can see what I sold in the last 90 days or whatever. Go take a look and see what the variety of what people are doing. Now, I don't have a lot of the higher price cards in there. As some people, my niche is divided back down to current. Not a lot of continentals, not a lot of foreigns, no greeting cards, a lot of holiday cards I don't do. But you can kind of see what I got listed and what I've sold. And that's the best way to keep track on there. Now, one of the things you don't want to do is compare yourself to somebody else. You can do that in the beginning to learn how to do it in postcards. But just like on YouTube, a lot of people compare themselves to real high subscriber YouTuber and say, why ain't I doing this? My videos are better. And they start getting down on themselves. Never compare yourself to someone else. You're individual. You're doing it different. You have your own style. Pick what you like best from each person and create your own. And that's how you grow your postcard stores or your sales or whatever you sell. If you want to sell other things, like I sell trading cards in there. I just picked up 250 NASCAR trading cards that I'm going to put in my postcard store. I got some Happy Days I picked up and some Partridge Family. I sell those singly. A lot of people don't sell those because there's not a lot of money in them. I just like doing it. I like looking at those cards and I like listing them. So that's my thing. But don't compare yourself to others all the time. You never know the whole story. That's another thing too. You never know exactly what's going on. So be careful. But let's get into Goofy Series postcards. Now, I didn't find, a lot of times I can find information on the history of cards and stuff. I just didn't really find anything on the Topps Goofy. I found a checklist that I'll talk about, but I didn't really find a lot about the history. So I thought I started, as I was going through that, I got into some history of the Topps chewing gum company, which is Topps trading cards. And I thought I would bring that up too. But while I go through this, I'm going to show you some of the Goofy cards and what they are. And you're saying, what are you talking about, Goofy cards? So here's a whole set. This is a whole set that I'm auctioning off on Whatnot. I think when this video drops on July 27th, 2022, so if you're watching it afterwards, it'll probably be over with. I'm auctioning off this whole set of 60 Goofy cards, series cards. This is a complete set. Not mint condition or the best condition in the world, but they're good condition. I'm not a grader, but they're not bad. They're not stained or whatever. But these are going off. I'm starting at $1 on Whatnot. So if you're not following me on Whatnot, check in the video description for the link. You get $10 credit, I get $10 credit, and I just use it to buy postcards from other sellers on Whatnot to support them. But you can go on there, and then you go on and you find SMPostcards, just like my YouTube channel, and then click follow. And every time I have a auction, you're going to get notified when I go live when they're out there. And you can save on those auctions too, a little ribbon at the top right. You can save them, and that way it'll come up in your Whatnot. So check that out. As I talk through these Goofy cards, July 27th, 7 p.m. Central, start at $1 for this whole series. And you'll see the prices of this. You'll say, starting at $1? Remember, I buy my cards, try to buy them what they call right, lowest as possible. So I'm going to talk about them, but just to give you an example of these, there's 60 cards. Each one has a number on the top up there, and they have a little comic saying on there. And then they have a stamp box, address, message, and title. So on there, now these have pre-printed canned messages on them, but that's what they are. They're not as big as a postcard. As you can see, this is the postcard here, the brown, and this is that card. So that's like a trading card and on there. So they're called postcards because they have postcard on the back. And they're called Goofy Series, 1957 Goofy Series postcards. And as you'll see, they're pretty prevalent out there. But I got a whole stack of 60 of these. And I think this is about the second set I've had in the last year. I get them in an auction, an estate sale auction. But let me show you these cards and then I'm going to get into the pricing. Now there is a checklist for these on there. I did find a checklist for them, and the link is in the video description for this checklist, and I'll pop it on the screen here if I remember to do that. But here's the, you should see the checklist here, and it'll give you all the cards that should be in the stack, but it's 1 through 60. Now, a little history on Topps. Topps Chewing Gum Company was founded in Brooklyn in 1938. On the back of the Goofy series postcards, it says TCG, Brooklyn, New York, printed USA. So TCG is Top Chewing Gum Company. So TCG, Top Chewing Gum. Their most famous and successful product was Bazooka Bubblegum, the little square pieces of gum. It was introduced right after World War II. There's approximately 700 comics. They wrap them in little comic gags in there, were written for that gum. So there's approximately 700 different little comic things you can collect if you wanted to. They started selling baseball cards, producing baseball cards in 1952. They added other sports like football, basketball, and hockey by 1957. So that's how they got in. They started as chewing gum company, then they got into baseball cards, and then they moved on. Now these Goofy series postcards are 1957. So they added those in there about the same time they were adding basketball and stuff like that. So they were hitting the market pretty hard. But here's some key dates for Topps. 1938, Topps Chewing Company was founded in Brooklyn, as I said. 1947, Bazooka Bubblegum was introduced. 1951, the first baseball cards produced, 1951 to 52. 1992, or 1992, they no longer included gum in their trading card packs. And I always wonder why. So I went out and looked it up. Most of the stuff I found says that the adult collectors or the hardcore collectors did not like it because it ruined the cards or made the cards worse. So that's why they didn't want them in there more. So for the collectors, which are going after that market, they decided to pull them out. I did find a little article on about what happens if you eat that gum from 1960s in those wax packs that you find. Actually, the article talked about a doctor saying if they were stored correctly and not in a moist environment or anything like that, they would probably be okay. It wouldn't taste good. It'd probably be more powder because a lot of it would dry up. But if it was in a moist environment, it might be some bacteria or something on there. So I don't recommend chewing any of that gum. Probably tastes terrible. But they did end that in 1992. Just the smell, I can smell it now when you open those baseball cards back then. Now here's an interesting thing, and I put it in here. In 1952, they come out with the sets. They're called bluebacks and redbacks sets of baseball cards. And I guess they had like the Mickey Mantle rookie and stuff in there. But these were the bluebacks and redbacks. I don't do sports cards at all, so I'm not real sure about sports cards. But they sold well at first, these sets. But then in 1951, at the end of 1952, they kind of lost momentum, and they had a whole bunch of these in their warehouse. And instead of taking up warehouse space, they decided to dump them. So they put them on a barge and brought them out to the Atlantic Ocean and dumped them out there. About 500 cases went in the Atlantic Ocean of these. Today, as I read, they say a complete mint set of these bluebacks or redbacks would be listed for over $60,000. They're very sought after cards. I can't confirm that. I read it, but I don't do sports cards. But if anybody knows anything about blue sets and red sets, please comment. But they're saying, what the numbers I see is that over $60,000, might be up more the way sports cards are going. But they dumped 500 cases in the Atlantic Ocean. Why would you dump garbage in the ocean in the 50s? We wouldn't even think of doing that today. I don't even think of putting a plastic bottle in the wrong garbage can. We recycle. But a complete mint set of those cards would be worth $60,000. And they dumped 500 cases. So that was interesting to me when I saw that. Now when I go through the pricing of these, I'm not going to do the sold high, sold low, list high, list low. It just didn't break out that way. what I'm seeing with pricing is more in sets or groups of cards. And so let's go through these and we'll come up with a number maybe for the sets and a number for cards. So the first one is a set of a complete set. They don't show all the cards of the 1957, but this is listed on some site. I just didn't take it from eBay. I started getting other stuff from other sites, so I figured I would include those today as well. Usually I just do eBay to give a good idea where we're at. But $65, and there's a discount of 5%, so $60 for a full set, so $1 a card. There's 60 cards in the set. Then you get into the lower listed stuff. This is a listed from eBay. Individual cards, $284 plus $4.90 shipping. I do believe these might go eBay standard envelope, so the $4 shipping, that's a little high. But if not, just stick a stamp and a label on there for $284. So these are only $2, $3 cards, and $284 is still too low. You need to go higher with all the fees and stuff like that, make it worth your while. People will pay it if you have good service, but with your shipping there at $4, tough sell. Also, I found some graded ones. Here's a graded card. They sent it to PSA, I think, graded, and they have it listed for $22.10 with $4.99 shipping. So they actually grade postcards, and I'm going to be doing a video about the graded cards that I found. I don't know a lot about grading companies and stuff, but I want to learn, so I'm going to put together a video this year, hopefully, and learn a little bit more about these different companies and the process. I might even send something in. I won't know if I'll get it back as soon as what I hear. But then you get into other pricing things. Remember, we'll see if we can come up with an idea what these cards are worth. This is a 1950 Topps Goofy Series postcard complete. $19.99. This is, I think this is a complete set that sold for $20 plus 10 shipping, because 10 shipping would be 60 cards. You know, I wouldn't do one card, so I don't know what these would weigh. I would probably say about 6-7 ounces. But $10 is a little high. But $20 in an auction. Then you got Topps, another set that's listed for $77. Then you have another set from Canada that's listed for $116. So we saw $60 to $100 so far for the sets. And then here's another set, low grade, $65 listed. Then you got a lot of 20 mid grade for $25. And then you have a whole set, mint condition, which I don't know what they mean by mint, is $60. And then you got another complete set for $55. So if we sum up everything that I just showed you, with the sets, I say between $55 and $65 is where I would try to stay. If I got them for a price, I could sell them for that $60. Individual cards, I see $2 to $5. I sell mine. I have a complete set that I broke up and put online individually, and that's what I do. I break them up and I sell them individually. I've sold probably a good dozen or so of those. I've got my money back already on what I paid for the whole set, and I sell those for $4.55. So I'd say between $4 and $5 for individual cards, but what the market, I don't see a lot of single cards sold. But I can tell you from experience, my personal, they do sell, but they are not fast sellers. So I sell them at $4.55, so I'd say between $4 and $5 for single cards. And if you have the whole set, even a mint condition one is selling for $60. That's what's in their description, the mint stuff. So $60 to $70. So $1 a card if you got a set. I probably would, if I had a whole set, I would probably, and you want to, I would sell it as a set first, second break it up and sell them individually. Depends on what you do. I tend to take trading cards and break up the sets and stuff like that. They sell a little faster, and plus that's what the way I set up the way I do. But that's Goofy Series postcards. When you see them, now you know what they are, and I think they're pretty prevalent out there. I've seen a lot listed on there, but each one has a number on the back. So if you want to complete the set, there's a checklist out there. Topps history is pretty interesting about those redbacks and bluebacks thing. You might want to go out and read up on that and see what those are in case you see those while you're hunting for postcards. Goofy Series postcards. Who knew? Now, instead of a poll or anything like that, I wanted to bring up the stats. I finally got it all tracked and everything up to June. I know this is the end of July, but I don't have the stats all the way done yet for July. So here's the month by month breakdown since the January 1st of 2022 of the percentage of cards sold each month of the total that I've sold so far this year. This is not dollars. Dollars, I didn't want to do dollars because one big buy or one higher price card, it can throw it off. I try to move cards. I try to when I do this, I focus on the number of cards that I sell on there. So in January, I was at 16.8, 17% of the total. And then I reached a peak of 20% in March. So 20% of my cards that sold was in March. But then look, in April, May, and June, I dropped down to like 15%. So we took a 5% drop from March to April. Now it hasn't went down, it's staying pretty steady since that drop. I haven't dropped any more really than 5% up to June. So our postcard's recession proof. That's what I've said sometimes. I think collectibles as a whole, the people that buy them, you will still continue to get sales. The peaks I've seen, it should start going back up, is what the history tells me. But at least I didn't hit rock bottom. So, but that's what my store is doing. Dropped in March to April 5% and has stayed there at 15% up there. Remember, this is a percentage of what I've sold to June, from January 1st to June 30th, and how it spreads out on there. And as I'll be tracking this every month as we go through the year, so you can kind of see, is there really a slowdown in summer? Is there really something happening? Not just what you feel, but what the data drives it. Then I also keep track with the same information. What days of the week do I sell most of my postcards on? When do people buy the most postcards from me? Not dollars, the number of postcards. So Wednesday is my highest day that people buy postcards from me. And this is from January 1st of this year. This is what it's coming out. The next day now is Sunday. So I would say Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. If I had to pick them, yeah, Wednesday and Thursday is my biggest days. That's when I should target the people that are following me. Maybe that's when I should put coupons, start sales, or do something, is on Wednesday and Thursday. I think it was Kelly came back and says his are like the beginning of the week. Totally a little different than mine. So, but this is my stats, but I track that so I can kind of see it. I wanted to show you how it's coming out. So Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is the best day for me. Those are the stats. Make sure you subscribe. That way you'll see the updates as I go out through the year. I have other updates. I have the eBay standard envelope that I do every month on how they did. I take 100 random eBay mailings and see how they did with the 4 scans and the average time it takes to get delivered. And I do the same thing with letter tracking on Etsy, which is like eBay standard envelope. And I do it for these stats as well. So I'll provide those updates. Viewer comments. These are comments left by viewers. If you leave them, sometimes I have the ID of the person if it's email. Sometimes I don't get it or I don't cut it out of there. The first comment was from Ethan Libre, NM, New Mexico maybe. I bought my first lot of postcards to use in junk journals. While researching, I learned how valuable they are and started reselling them. So he started to do them for junk journals, but then he started researching postcards and he says, oh, I think I could sell these better in junk journals. I use my damaged or unsellable postcards in my junk journals. So this came from the poll, what do you do with cards you can't sell? So he does junk journals, and we'll be selling junk journals too. And junk journals, I don't know a lot about those. It's just paper, in there that you write on it. Should have been thrown away and put together. I'm not in the scrapbooking world or whatever, but this is a good way to do it. Pick up people's spoils, pick out what you can sell that you think is good, and use the rest in the junk journals. Thanks, Enfren. Libre, New Mexico, I think. And good ideas. So you got the best of both worlds. Like you said, win-win. Next comment was postcards and more. Laura Armed Man, brilliant. This is from, I think, one of my videos where I talked about the RPPCs, and I tested some titles, and there was a lady with a pole, a guy with a gun. And I just said postcard, RPPC, lady with pole, armed man. And it sold within 14 hours, in the first 14 hours. Titles can make a difference. But if you overlook it, you can spend hours trying to figure out and say why it's not so. It's still the subject on the card. It's still the picture on there. But you want to get it in search, so you want to have the keywords in there. But great video as always. Thanks, Mark. Thank you. And I did sell the other one on that video, Man Standing on Porch. Postcard, RPPC, Man on Porch. That's all I did for the title, and it sold. So don't overthink it. You know, keep moving, keep listing. Quantities does still rule. The last comment I have here, my friend has a bunch of postcards and asked me to sell them for him, and he will split the profit with me. Have you ever sold on like a consignment before? I get this asked a lot. I have family members, I have other people, hey, can you put this online for me? We'll split it. No, I do not do that. I have a hard no. I don't sell that. Because what's going to happen is you mix business and family. It's not good. I don't think they're not going to understand the fees and stuff like that. So if somebody has something they think is worth $100 and you list it and you sell it for $50 and you give them $20, they're going to be upset and they're not going to understand, and they're going to spend all that time convincing them. Then all of a sudden, after you give them the $20, within the 30 days or whatever, there's a refund. Then you got to go ask for the $20 back. Or 180 days, they do a chargeback on a credit card. You're taking all the risk, you're doing all the work, and they're not doing anything except grief, probably. So I don't do consignments. When I do action figures, I have people. My son's friend had a bunch of stuff he was moving and wanted to know if I'd sell it for him. I said I'd rather buy it outright, and he said how much, and I said $40 for the whole box. Sold. Then it's mine. I don't have to deal with all that. So I don't do consignments at all. I don't work for somebody else and stuff like that. You can do it, but my recommendation is just buy it outright. Give him a good deal on it where you're going to make some money. He gets his cash right there, and then it's all yours. That's my recommendation to everybody that asks me. So just try to buy it outright. Is the best thing to do on there. It can get crazy with all the fees trying to explain people how eBay works. Now these Goofy Series postcards can be considered comic cards too, but they're not like the linen comic cards like this video here I did. The Goofy cards I think are a little different. People do read them and move on, like with all comic cards. But they're from Topps and they're 1957. So you want to make sure you get that 1957 in the title. I think that triggers people in Topps and Goofy Series postcards. But this video here will talk about comic postcards that you see all the time. Do they sell? I think people just read them and move on. I have a bunch of them up, but I don't sell. And there's older comic cards as well. So watch out for those. Make sure you get them cheap. Some of them do sell, but they do take a while. Check the video out. That's all I got for you today. Good luck out there, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.